Lorraine Newman, you're 1975. You're on a variety comedy show that is not supposed to, I assume, succeed, or they wouldn't have put it on at midnight on NBC.
Right. It was supposed to replace instead of the Carson reruns.
Right. It's just, and it's live,
a filler. Yeah.
Meaning, not meaning amazing. Like we. What is it now? 40 years later? I can't even keep track of time. But 42 years later, every fucking sketch is archived in this computer control. There's a robot arm that goes dick in a box, goes burp, October 2012. Why would that be in October? There's a Christmas sketch. But back in these days of Coneheads and these things, you guys were doing this variety show for
us.
Yeah. You were bell-bottom jeans and it was I don't have a question because I'm a bad interviewer. I'm curious if you have any insight,
Well, you want me to set the stage?
Sure.
Okay. Well, the first people who were hired in the cast were actually me and Gilda. And I had worked with Lorne before. I had done a Lily Tomlin special. And I think that was in 74. And he had seen me in the Groundlings. And then he came back and saw me doing more characters and more material.
Who's he? Is
Lorne.
Okay.
And I went to New York and I met Gilda. And then we watched other people's auditions.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I met Danny.
With him, because he was like, you're my Charlie's Angels. Let's go assemble it.
Exactly. That's what we felt like. And that was interesting. And then we started filming the commercial parodies. And that's where I met Belushi and Howard Shore, who was our band leader, who's now become an Academy Award-winning...
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I mean, actually Silence of the Lambs, too.
Fuck that.
Wait, Lorraine. So whose auditions did you watch that made it into the cast? Did you?
Jane Curtin.
Wow.
And it was between her and Mimi Kennedy. Do you know who she is?
No.
Oh God, I wish I could list her credits now. You go, oh my God, yeah, her. She was really good, but Jane, it was just clear.
So Lorne had the women first?
I think so, yeah. And I think he did have Danny actually. And Chevy was hired as a writer. Garrett Morris was hired as a writer. And I met Tom Schiller, who was also a writer, and I'm thinking, God, that guy looks familiar. It turned out that we had gone to the same grammar school, and my sister had been his camp counselor. So, that was interesting.
It's already surprising to me because I remember from what I've read, you guys were all... I picture you guys as being all sort of in the same company. There was Second City or something, and there's somebody coming and scouting and just grabbing people.
Well, the Groundlings we had just formed the Groundlings a year before I went to New York to do the show. I was the first Groundling to go and do SNL. So I cannot tell you the teasing I got from everybody in the cast, well, mainly Danny and John, about the Groundlings. No, it was Second City from Toronto, Second City from Chicago.
So it was all just... You guys, when you were showing up in 75, when you were shooting the first... Can you remember the first sketch?
Yeah, well, I also remember the first sketch that was cut on George Carlin's show, which was Alexander the Great's high school reunion. And it was so funny. And I wasn't even in it, but I was heartbroken that it was cut. And, there have been a lot of instances like that, and including, I think it was Jesus Christ's high school reunion, where it was, Jesus, is that you? God, you look good. Christ, it's good to see you.
What was the joke at Alexander the Great's high school reunion?
Oh, that I don't remember. It's such a long time ago. But
just trust me, it was.
Yeah, or trust me, it was funny.
So you left the Groundlings in what year?
75.
When I was born in 73. When I was 4 or 5 years old, my first professional job was at the Groundlings Theater. I did a play there.
Really?
Yeah. So it would have been just a couple of years after you left.
Wow.
I was in a very ill-advised production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, with all children.
Real children.
Yeah, it was a bummer.
Wow.
Opening night, I was Linus, and my director, who was 6'5", and I was a little tiny 4-year-old. And he gets down on his knees and on his haunches, like in the wings, right before I walk on. He's like, Jeffrey, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why? So he's like, you don't look so good. And I just puked all over. I just projectile vomited all over his face. And then I dropped my blanket and went out on stage. As I think I said before, if you're Linus and you don't have a blanket, you're Schroeder. Nobody fucking knows who you are.
That's some pep talk. That's a great pep talk.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I owe that guy a drink.
And you were on SNL. Now we call it SNL. It never called it SNL back then.
Well, at that time, it was NBC's Saturday Night because Howard Cosell had a show on Friday night with his rep company, Chris Guest, a lot of other interesting people.
What was the Howard Cosell show called?
It was Saturday Night.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyways, you did it for, what, 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
Like, how many episodes would that be?
I think it was 105 shows.
Jesus Christ.
And then Lorne decided he'd had enough.
You were there, so you departed. There was that year that then Lorne Michaels got removed from his own NBC show.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, something like that.
When he told us he quit.
Dan, where are you going with this?
I don't know. No, I really wasn't going with that. But was that 80?
Yes, 1980.
And so you left like
the whole cast left.
Like Lorne came. Could you call you guys together and go? I'm interviewing about stuff that everyone can read in some paperback
Dick
somewhere.
Ebersol, or was it Dick Ebersol? Someone from the network came and asked us if we wanted to stay, knowing that Lorne was leaving. Because Jean Doumanian, who had been, I think, the talent coordinator, was going to take over as the producer. And we didn't feel that she could do it. So we all left. Wow. And I was homesick. I wanted to come home to L.A.
After 5 years of working on a show, even if you thought that the next person would do a bang-up job, it's like, it's a good time to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be faulted for it.